Fans of Horus Heresy, big shooty rocket tanks, and being able to point your missiles in any direction you feel. Thank you very much for joining me for a build video of sorts. And what is this going to be about? Well, here we have this handsome chappie, or chapette if you prefer, and this is this guy here, if we can get it in shot, the Legion Arquitor Bombard with Spicula Rocket System. As I've been working on this vehicle, I had an idea, and if we take a look at the rear deck assembly, we can see this bit here. Now, this is to do with the actual Spicula missile battery or rocket system. I should say rocket system, that's what they call it. And it's designed to attach here and be fixed firing forwards in a single direction. So yeah, that's the kind of plan, or that's how it's supplied. But I thought, well, I wonder if we could turn this into a rotating turret, or a little perhaps turret-ette. So that's what we're going to try doing in this video. So we've already done some preparation work here, so we can get straight into the main part of this exercise. So let me take you through what I've done. This is the turret point, or turret doodah. Doodah, that's a good term. In the parts list, this is 34. This is the Spicula Rocket Base. So I've taken this and I've sawed the crescent, or well, not crescent, but hemispherical shaped mounting lug off, which goes in there. So I sawed that off with the old razor saw, and with what was left, I put it into the mounting location here of a similar shape and size. And then I filled it over with milliput, as you can see, and smoothed it off. Lovely jubbly. So we have a flat surface to work with. So that is thing one. So in theory, what we have now is a mounting thingy, a Spicula rocket base that can go on the deck and rotate. Of course, we're going to need to do something to allow said rotation to occur. And, well, this is where the magnets come in. So here we have some 4mm diameter by 3mm high N35 grade neodymium magnets. And the plan is to mount one in here and one in here to serve as an attachment point and then a rotation point for the battery. Now, a couple of things. So this is the armor shield, which is called, so I'm going to try and make this relevant, the weapon shield. So there you go, this is a weapon shield. What I've done is I've stuck the power supply on here, as you can see, and then I've put a pin through the two for strength, and then I've also drilled the pin locator hole here in the chassis, so that is now ready to slip on like so. The reason I've done that is to help when it comes to the actual fitting bit. So that is kind of like the space in which the Spicula rocket system is going to go. And the reason I've got that is so once I mount the missiles, we can actually, just test fit it to see what the range of motion is going to be like. It's not going to be a massive range of motion. It's probably going to be something like that to that. But I think it's, well, more than nothing, and I think it'll be just enough to make this model a little bit more interesting. So that's kind of like the first bit of stuff. Right, so at this stage I'm going to dismantle the dry fit of the hull. Nice chunky track units, I do like them. So don't need that, we don't need the front, or the engine, or the base plate. We need these two parts. So there's two parts here, which is kind of like the weapon deck. And these two parts are number 10, which is the upper hull front and the upper hull rear, which have been stuck together. So those are stuck together. I filled that in, I've smoothed it off. I also filled in the gap. There's a fairly large cavity here. I filled that in with some spare milliput. And the reason I've done that is I think there's probably just enough depth to get a magnet in there without going through. I'm going to have to be careful not to punch the drill through this. If I do go through, it's not going to be the end of the world though. So that's the broad plan. It's to mount a magnet in this, and thereby have a side-to-side rotation on the Spicula rocket system. Right, that's a fair old preamble. What else we got? Right, let's do quick tools. It's been a while since we've done this. So as we are working with magnets today, we have a Sharpie and a wooden cocktail stick, bamboo cocktail stick, a large one, and that's for marking the polarities on the magnet and also then push fitting the magnet once it's stuck. So we've got those. We've then got a host of tools. So we have 3 pin visors, small, medium and large at 2 ends. Those are for basically starting holes and widening them if we need to do it. And then I've got the final drill bit, which is, if I just grab Sammy's scalpel, how many? That's a 4mm drill bit, yeah. So that's a 4mm drill bit, which is the correct diameter for the neodymium magnets. So I've got those. I'm going to have to do this by hand. I haven't got a pin vise large enough to hold this, but I've done things like this in the past. I have to buy one, really, should do. But I've done it in the past by hand and not managed to cut myself too badly. Right, what else we got? We have 2 scalpels, Blunty scalpel and Sharpie scalpel for any knife work we may need. We have the spiky bradawl, the bradawl spike, always useful, this tool. I still haven't figured out which company made this. There you go. D Germany. I presume that is, I'm not sure if this was made in East Germany during the Cold War. If anyone ever finds out, do tell me. I'm interested to hear on that. I've got all those tools. I'll be using this for marking the drill location or the starting location for the magnet on that. On the base plate. We've also got a set of small pliers, and this is in case magnets get stuck in a hole without being stuck and they need to be pried out. So they may come in handy. If I do it right, I won't need them. And then last, the penultimate tools, we have a can of accelerant. And the reason why we have the can of accelerant is because we have a bottle of thick super glue, well, medium thick super glue, which is absolutely ideal for this. And then finally, we have our old favourite, Dusty brush. So yeah, I think Dusty brush is well over 30 years old now. Still going strong. Lost a few hairs. Yeah, good one. Dusty brush is a Winsor & Newton brush, so it goes to show how they last. It's had quite a bit of abuse over the years. Right, so preamble over, let us begin. Let us begin. So what I think we need to deal with here is obviously locating the magnets centrally here and here, and then we also need to stick the actual Spicula rockets in place. Now these have been cleaned up already. They're a fair old fiddle. There's a lot of flash, a mod lice to remove. There's no mod slips as such. There's a little bit at the end rocket, but there's just a fair amount of flash. So I conquered that particular mountain of cleaning up last night. These have usually got an A, a B and a C indicator on them as so, which then ever so conveniently corresponds to the intended location on the rocket base. And you can see that all 3 have different spacings and different numbers of rockets. So nice, I do like that. Very simple feature of the kit, but makes the assembly ever so much easier. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to stick these in place first, which will give us a bit more material to drill into without poking through at all. So I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to move on to the drilling. Actually, no. Let's get the center point of this before I do that. So how's that? That's not central. This is always a challenge. This is just getting the center point. I mean, of course, sensible human beings will use things like rulers and measures here, but I'm using the old cheese reckoner. And this does need to be pretty central. And given the sort of rotation we do with, I think we need a point slightly in between those two. That looks pretty good. Let's get the knife, which has got a handy little ruler built in, and let's measure the diameter. So the diameter here is about 28 millimeters, so we're probably looking for around 14. And that seems to be pretty close to that, I think. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Cool. Right, so I'm just going to emphasize this hole a little more. There we go. Let's do a little bit of thinking about it. Let's do a bit of drilling first, too, because once these rockets are on, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot harder to handle. Yes. So, I hope you all enjoyed the unboxing of this kit. I've very much been enjoying working on this. It's a really interesting model. Good to have something really unique and different. And yet at the same time, sticking with all the classic design cues of Legion vehicles like the Sikaar and the Fell Blades, and more recently the Sabre. So I got that. Let's now go up a notch or 5 in terms of size. So yeah, I've been enjoying this kit. It's been fun. Good cast, not too much. I mean, you've seen a fair bit of milliputting work. It's not as bad as it looks actually for doing the filling. It hasn't really perturbed me too much. Now, I don't want to do the final depth here. I just want to get most of it done, so I don't want to go too far into this. I think that's probably about right. Now, the other thing I'm thinking here is I really want a bit of an offset or a depth offset on these magnets, and I really want one to be slightly recessed into either the base or the deck, and that's just to keep it more firmly in place. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but it is a little sub-objective, shall we say, if there is such a thing. So, right, I'm going to see if we can do this without cutting my hands, because this is quite a sharp drill. This is a metal drill. Metal drills do work rather well on resin. They're a good choice. You can get some of the initial drilling work out of the way. So as I say, once the rockets are in place, it's going to be harder to work with this. So yeah, what would I say? I've not actually done a little preamble about chats. It's been so long since I've done one of these videos. I've got to rediscover my creative groove for a build video. I've still got the video to do on the next video to do on the Mechanicum drill, the Actaeus. That's all ready to shoot the final build video, and that's a really interesting one, that. But I'm doing this thing first, and then probably the Sabres, and then I'll get to the Actaeus, maybe. Depending on my mind's very flitty sometimes. Right, that's kind of what I was after. So you can see now how we've got a bit of the magnet's a little bit proud. If I then, oops, don't snap your magnets together, kids. They may shatter. If I do this one into the hull, the upper hull deck slightly deep, and that will make the attachment that bit firmer. So that's good. Let's now see if we can do this one. So I'm actually going to leave, I'm going to leave the missiles for now. I'm going to come back to the missiles later, or the rockets. I keep calling them missiles. Right, explanation, crew. Let me explain. The reason I call them missiles is because these things, I'm pretty certain these are guided. Any sort of rocket-powered, guided weapon is generally referred to as a missile, and that's because there's a little targeting radar that goes on here. Whereas unguided things are rockets, and I don't think these are unguided, so they've called them rockets for the kit, but I actually think they're missiles. Anyway, there we go. So yeah, there's a little bit of a weapons waffle. Right, this is probably going to be a little trickier to do. And I wonder how I can gauge the position. So it's actually, when you look at it, if anyone is inclined to give this a go after my foolish endeavours, you haven't got much. Sorry, I was struggling with the light there. There isn't much play back and forth at the ends. There you go. It's only like a millimetre away either side, so it does need to be quite well located, I think. Mind you, saying that, it'll all be quite hidden away in the end, so maybe not so much of an issue. Now, I might be able to cheat here. So if I go back to this, I can see that there's a line of where the groove was, and it's actually about bang on halfway. So that would suggest to me that here is going to be the center point. So let me start off by, I need to carefully do this because of course we've got milliput next to resin. So we've got somewhat different properties on the materials. So I don't want too much force, blunt force. Different when I'm drilling, but not too much blunt force. That looks okay to me. So if we measure it across, we've got the distance across is 48 millimeters. So 24. Sorry, you can see that. Let's do that again. So the distance across, I estimate, is 48 millimeters. So we're looking at 24, and that's bang on 24. So that way is good. And then this way we've got, so let's take it to there. So let's call that, that's all right actually, isn't it? That's 30 millimeters. So we're looking at 15, and we bang on again. Excellent. Well, happy with that. So for eyeballing, that was pretty accurate. Must be one of my special abilities. Right. Let's now start drilling this. What should we talk about? What shall we chat about on this video? Or what shall I chat to you about? Because you can't chat back, can you? This isn't Twitch yet. Well, I feel we should talk about Heresy, although in the world of 40k, everything's been getting a bit emotional today because over the last couple of days, because Games Workshop released a, I suppose, an FAQ for 8th edition, and the big take-home in this 8th edition FAQ is the Iron Hands chapter tactics rules got, sorry about that, crew. There you go. I'm still not quite used to this new smartphone, the camera location, so sorry about the, hello, I'm doing stuff up here, but you can't see because there's a camera. Sorry about that. Yes, I don't think everyone's entirely happy about the, well, balance, nerf. You can use your own terminology there as you see fit. So now we're just scaling up to a larger drill bit to increase the diameter of this hole, nice and gently. As I said, we were working with resin against milliput, so two mediums side by side. So don't want to get that wrong. Looking pretty good. I might be a little bit. No, that's actually spot on that. So generally, the general feedback is, I mean, I'm not a big 8th edition player. Filthy casual, I think I'd say. But basically, the Iron Hands have been dominating tournaments to perhaps a lesser degree, but still noticeable, like the local gaming scene. So the powers that be at Games Workshop have decided to balance them, and some people haven't been happy about this. I probably look at it as being, well, yeah, fair weather Iron Hands fans. If people just bought them to exploit or to game the hell out of the meta that we've just come out, that 8th edition has just come out of, well, yeah, not the end of the world, is it? Now moving up to the 4mm drill, expanding this out to the final required diameter, being careful here not to damage the milliput. Milliput's a great material, but it is quite brittle, so you have to be gentle. Easily does it with the hands. So how's that looking? That's looking PDQ or PDG, pretty damn good. Yeah, so let's work on that a little bit more. All right, yeah. So yeah, that's been news, but not 40k news. Well, that's 40k news. 30k news. The pre-orders have gone up for the Dark Angels variant Destroyer Marines. I can't remember their names. It looks to me like it's a play on the name Intercessor from the current 40k meta. So they're kind of like trying to build these links between 30k and 40k, which is fine. This vehicle is a prime example of such links because this is a backwork of the that Nurgly thing, the Plague Burst Crawler. So yeah, and my apologies to Legio 1 players out there for being remiss in remembering your unit's names, but they look really good. They're armed with these little short-range plasma nasty splatty things. Very high AP, only average strength 4. And I think they're 160 points a squad, so they're going to be quite beastly against Marines and Terminators. They'll probably put up a reasonable fight against some of the medium automata, but they're not going to do anything to a Thanatar at strength 4. Yeah, they look pretty good. No hardened armor, so standard power armor. There's an incinerator version of their standard plasma carbine arm, which has a considerably higher fire rate at the same strength and AP, but 18 inches range, but it's heavy, so it comes with a suspensor web, so its standard range is only 9 inches, so 9 inches playing the carbine version's range, so actually the support weapon's got less range than the pistols or the carbines. So that I suppose we could look on as being a nice balance. But they look really good. It's a great looking kit, I think, and if I were a Dark Angel player, I'd be buying 10 at least. Well, probably 10 actually, but I would definitely buy 10. They look great. Based around Mark III armor as well, which the Dark Angels seem to have adopted as their thing. Alright, so going for another test fit on the Neodymium magnet. So that's looking good. We need to get a bit deeper. Looking into the hole, I can see I've not yet hit the milliput. So in we go. Got my finger on the other side just to kind of hold the milliput in case it breaks loose. Well, to stop it breaking loose. It is a risk with an operation like this. It could easily happen. Of course, there's a force of the drill going onto it. So there's that. The Arquitor with the grav cannon, or the graviton charge bombard. No, the graviton charge cannon. There you go. That only took me several attempts to get right. That went on sale today. I've got one of those on order. So I'm quite taken by these tanks. I have enjoyed this one immensely, and I would like, yeah, I'm definitely getting the next one. So I'm waiting for that to turn up as well. Exciting stuff. Unfortunately, this year the Horus Heresy Weekender is not being run, which is a little bit sad moment. That so we're not going to get all that usual juicy stuff. Which, you know, it wasn't a cheap event, but I'll tell you one thing: it was by far and away the best event in the Games Workshop calendar. With, I think I would I'd say it's on a par actually probably for the fans of the Black Library. The people who go to the Black Library Weekender seem to be massive fans. So yeah, I think we'll put it on a par with that one. You can see why they're similar things. Small event, not cheap, but for the really serious fan. So yeah, no Heresy Weekender, which is sad. But flip side is Book 9 will be coming out this year, which is great. The thing, you know, Dark Angel players, you know, that's a massive thing. The Last of the Legions. Night Lord's going to be lots of good stuff in there. For me in particular, I'm very interested by what I'm expecting for the Dark Mechanicum. And I do look forward to it including the Dark Mechanicum. The Mechanicum Force that you've seen me showcase elements of on the channel before, through a rather fortuitous occurrence, I actually ended up buying another Mechanicum army, which was fully painted, which is essentially a loyalist army. So I've now got a whole unpainted army, and I think I'm thinking now that I might repurpose that to be a Dark Mechanicum army, and very nicely utilise the awesome Anacaris Scuria as its warlord. Now, let's just pause that, and we're at a rather wonderful part of this conversion because this is going rather well. We've got the holes drilled, just doing a test fit there with the missile base. Still a bit proud, so we need to go down further. But the actual location is absolutely perfect. I'm delighted with that. Oops, as long as I don't send it careening off somewhere into the ether regions of the kitchen. So I think we'll do a little bit deeper here next. So as I'm going along here, I've kind of moved away from the idea of putting the missiles in right until the end. And I'm thinking, well, it's helping me with the drilling. It's making the drilling a lot easier. Because those missiles are quite delicate, and I would be very unpleased with myself if I were to break them doing this. Oops. So you can see a little bit offset, so let's just check the depth on this. So that's about what I want. So if we can get this deep enough on this side, that's absolutely perfect for what I'm trying to achieve here. So yeah, some really exciting releases in Heresy, and I've been absolutely delighted with the new tank units that we've been seeing. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I'm a huge fan of the Sabre. I mean, the Sabre that's a brilliant design. Instant crowd pleaser, and you can see why. It's small, it's lovely. I mean, here's one that's on my work desk I'm just finishing up. Absolutely great looking tank. Superb magnetization, capacity. Brilliant, what's not to like? The Arquitor, I liked it thematically from word go, the idea of it being the precursor to the Plague Burst Crawler. I do like that. I think it's a nice idea to explore in the game. But I wasn't taken by the model 100% at all, and certainly not this rocket one. I wasn't particularly keen on this rocket one at all to start with, until I actually saw it in the flesh, and then I was like, okay, this is cool. Being able to look at it from all directions and in 3 dimensions. I mean, the rotating photos on the Warhammer, not the Warhammer, the Forge World web store, they're all right, but they don't really tell the story. Seeing it in the flesh, I could appreciate it a lot more. So yeah, big tick in the box for this one for me. Clearly, I mean, I'm more biased than a really biased person when it comes to the Heresy armor. I am a big fan. I really like the Heresy, you know me. But I like to think I like it with good reason, if that makes sense. So, That's perfect now. We've got a nice low profile fit there. The magnets, I think, are perfectly recessed. Might just take another tiny little shaving out, just a last soupçon of material away, and that's all it's going to need. And you can see that's just right time because we're just starting to get a poke through from the drill, so a great time to stop there. Again, that is absolutely perfect. Yeah, brilliant. Now let's do a little test fit with the the weapon shield. So I put that pin in like I said, and then we just need to align the pin and slide it in. There you go. So for the first time now we actually get a feel for what the final configuration is going to be like. So there you go. Cool, right. So without further procrastination, let's get these magnets in. So I'm going to retrieve the remaining stack of magnets because it makes this bit much easier. Right, so we will start with the pen. I normally work with the principle of make the colour vanish. So I mark the end of the magnets like so, and then we're going to mount that into there like that. Get some glue. I hope you're enjoying this build video. It's been a long while since I've done one, as I said, so it's really nice to do, and it's been, I've just not been able to do these for a long while due to all sorts of reasons, and it's lovely to be back in a position to do them. I do enjoy them, and I enjoy sharing these ideas with you, and I enjoy hearing your comments around the work that we do here, and you know, your ideas as well, because you guys and girls have lots of great ones as well. It's not just me. So I'm just taking the lid off the accelerant and just a little spray zaboo, just like that, and that'll be fine. Right, so now we'll connect the magnet stick again. Again, sticking with the principle of making the colour disappear, we're going to mark the opposite end of the magnet stack, like so. And now we're going to stick it in there. Now this time I need to be quite careful with the glue because I don't want to obstruct the recessed magnet. So I'm probably going to go with a bit less glue this time, but still enough for an affirmative fit. It's going to go in, and then we have to slide it away. And this is where the importance of the cocktail stick of non-magnetized manipulation comes along, to just push that into place. You know, if you try to do this with any ferromagnetic material, you'll have a nightmare because it'll be sticking to it all the time. There. Now, I would like to run a little bit more glue in to secure this. So I'm going to give this a go now. So yeah, okay, I've got, it might not be quite set yet. So let's just take the cocktail stick. I'm going to take my sharp scalpel and just cut the end off. So I've got a nice sharp end again, because I use these a lot for glue manipulation and they get bunged up. And the ends lose their point. So just going to restore that now. That'll do. Do nicely. A little bit of adhesive. Right, the trick is we're going to put the adhesive in, which was way too much, and then we're basically going to wipe the whole lot out. But we won't get it all out because the stuff that's in the edges will stay. A little bit of smear across it there, but I don't think that matters. So that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to give it a quick zap of accelerant, just like that. Don't need a lot, not for this thing, and that'll be set. Accelerant. It does have a rather nice smell. I do like it. The aromatic smell of hydrocarbon propellants. It's not glue sniffing. It's but it is nice. Oh gosh, hear that? Right, so that was that. So there you go. And there we have it. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now it won't rotate all the way around because we're going to have the weapon shield in place. But we should have some rotation. That's quite actually. That's quite a. It's quite an effect. That's a strong fit. That is. Hopefully that's not too much. Right. So let's now mount the spicula. Once these are stuck on, I might do a bit of filling, just to tidy it up, but that's something for another day. Now, I'm also thinking, do I pin these? I don't think these will need pinning, not with those attachment points. No, I don't know. You could pin these. If you wanted to, you could do a pin on these. I think it's, even for me, and you know what I'm like, Mr. Pin to win, even I think it would be too much. But, you know, I always respect a good pin, so fill your boots. So let's just maneuver this adhesive. Got a bit. I cleaned the nozzle of my glue tube out. Yeah, glue tube on the glue tube on YouTube, and it's got quite a nice wide aperture on it, but there's also probably a bit too much. The glue flow is a little bit excessive. So yeah, there is that. Right. And there she goes. So I don't know quite how that happened, but it would now appear that Spicula rockets are she's. They are the feminine. Maybe we could have alternating ranks. Maybe some could be male, some could be female. Maybe not in between. I don't know. I've got a waffle on here, haven't I? Right. So that's the first bank of rockets in position. And now going to proceed to the second bank of 6. So just checking the alignment. So there's a little bit of movement there. So I just need to be careful to get this nicely square with the others, while not spilling glue everywhere or anything. So let's try doing the glue this way this time. Of course, the thing with super glue is, generally speaking, you only want a thin layer of it to get the maximum strength bond. I believe I'm right in thinking this, but if an excessive amount of super glue actually produces a weaker bond than a thin layer that's just so. And a thin layer certainly sets more rapidly. All right, so I've got the B to the B. That's good. And then we have the second bank of Spicula rockets. And then retrieving C, we're going to mount those there. I'm just doing a little dry fit there. We can see that they look good. And then just checking the orientation on the others. Yeah, that's good. So everything's been nicely designed here. Good affirmative lugs and pretty positive fit as well. So there's not much wobble or movement. I mean, with a resin kit, you are probably always going to get a little bit of that. Or it's not uncommon, just because of it's not like plastic and the sort of precision you can achieve. Just got a little bit of adhesive on one of the pipes there, so I'm just going to clean that up first. There we go. Right, so back to the glue. It's one of those things that there's perfect and then there is very, there's perfect and then there is very good. And these I think are very good, and very good is good enough. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I'll leave a link in Twitter. I'm on Twitter a lot at the moment. Easier to get time to post stuff on Twitter. Lots of nonsense, but I do post work in progress pictures of my models and other things as well. And if you're interested in painting models that I'm having painted for me, you'll see them first on Twitter. That's another thing I have to do, or I want to do, is I have several videos to do on some nice models I've had painted, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy these when I do them. I've had some very nice models painted by commission painters, and I have some more in the pipeline right at this moment. So yeah, lots of great content to make there. So, how does that look? Well, the camera lens may be causing a little distortion, but to my naked eye and stereoscopic vision evolved over millions of years, that looks spot on. Good. So let's just give that a little dusting of the accelerant. It's just because I don't want it to come loose. There you go. So I think now we are at about the finishing point. So now this is a moment where this whole idea and several hours of work might be proved to be stupid. There is a risk that once it's all together, this might not have any rotation in it. So do be nice to me in the comments if that happens. So first, put the spicula in position. There we go. Now, how far does it rotate? So with no gun shield in place, it will rotate from, well, let's imagine this is a clock face. So let's say here is, I don't know, 1 o'clock. It'll go from there to maybe 5 o'clock. Let's just call it 1 till 5, approximately. So that's not a bad range of motion. And there without sort of snagging over things, it won't go any further. So yeah, so it's a limited traverse, which on an assault gun type setup, this isn't a tank, remember, that's fine. Now, the question is, once we put the gun shield in place, how much motion do we have left? So gun shield is in place, so instantly less motion, but we do have, and this is what I want, this is what I was kind of expecting and hoping for, which is we do have a bit of motion. Let me hold the gun shield in its final position so we can go from here to here. And I rather like that. Just a little bit of extra life to this tank. And then here's the other tester. Can we remove? Yes, we can. We can actually remove the battery quite nicely like that, and it snaps back in like that. Lovely. Is all that work worth it? Well, I don't know. Only you can decide that. For me, I've really enjoyed doing this, and it was well worth the time. And, if you're interested in doing it, well, this gives you an indication of, what results you might get as well. I suppose there are a couple of options here. Looking at the range of motion limitation, it's these turned in bits. You could heat these up and flange those out, and it would actually look okay. And I bet I could do that. So I'm quite, with all the experience I've had of resin bending. So yeah, that could be easily done. I'm not going to stick the gun shield in place yet, so I'm going to leave myself the window of opportunity to work further on it. But what would be a nice way to wrap this video up is with a dry fit of the vehicle with the missiles in place. So how should we do this? Let's take apart the missiles. I'm doing it again, the rockets, and put this back together. I'll be doing the final assembly on this tomorrow, I think, unless anything else pops up in the old life of Runio. So I've just got a little bit of sanding and stuff to do on the filling, but everything's bent to fit, so it's all ready to stick now. And sorry you can't quite see everything I'm doing, but such as the limitations of the field of view on the camera. There we go. So there you go. One Arquitor. And then we'll take the Spicula Rockets, put those in position. So yeah, it does look good, doesn't it? And with the gun shield not fitted, you can go from there to there. Quite nice, eh? Gives the vehicle a bit more character, doesn't it? Yeah. If you did this on yours, it would just make it stand out from a crowd. There's an argument to actually leave the gun shield off as well, I'd say. There's all sorts of modifications you could do with this gun shield to increase the range of motion, but let's just stick with stock as if it were assembled as per the instructions and see where we get to. So I think that's about in place. I mean, it's a dry fit, so it's not quite lined up. I need to bend that pin a bit just to line it up, but here we go. So yeah. Rather cool. Yeah. Fun little project, that. Pleased with it. Nice, yeah. See, it just gives it that little bit more life, doesn't it? Right, well, I think we're done here today with this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching me magnetize the Spicula Rocket Battery for the Arquitor Bombard. I've really enjoyed doing that, and I like the result. So do let me know what you think about this. Is this a conversion that you would consider undertaking, or do you think I'm just off my rocker doing this to get this little this bit of motion into this model? Yeah, whatever you may think, please do share your thoughts and observations down in the comments. And you know, if you've got anything around the units we've talked about, the new Heresy units, or even, heaven forbid, talk about 8th edition, I'm only joking, please do share those thoughts in the comments section. As always, I'll be very interested to hear. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.